Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the depths of hidden knowledge and explore the mysteries of our ancient past. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey to investigate an intriguing question. Was Noah's Ark round? This exploration will be guided by examining the Ark of Ziusudra and ancient stone tablets that hold the key to this enigma. The traditional depiction of Noah's Ark, as described in the Bible, portrays it as a large, rectangular vessel. But what if there is more to the story? What if another ancient narrative suggests a different shape for this legendary ark? Today, we will uncover ancient scriptures, delve into the historical accounts of the epic of Ziusudra, and analyze archaeological discoveries that might reshape our understanding of Noah's Ark. Join us as we explore the possibility that Noah's Ark was not rectangular, but round. By examining biblical references, ancient Sumerian texts, and forbidden knowledge, we aim to uncover the hidden truths about one of the most famous vessels in history. Let's dive into this extraordinary investigation and see what secrets lie beneath the surface. In the Bible, the account of Noah's Ark is detailed in the book of Genesis, specifically in Genesis 6:14-16. According to these verses, God provided Noah with precise instructions on how to construct the ark. The dimensions given are explicit. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. To put that into perspective, a cubit is generally considered to be about 18 inches, making the ark approximately 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. This immense size was intended to house Noah's family and pairs of every kind of living creature during the cataclysmic flood. Furthermore, the materials for the ark's construction were specified. God instructed Noah to use gopher wood, a term that has puzzled scholars and translators for centuries due to its ambiguous nature. Some interpretations suggest that gopher wood might be a type of cedar or cypress, known for their durability and resistance to decay. Additionally, the ark was to be coated inside and out with pitch, a resinous substance that would waterproof the vessel, ensuring its buoyancy and integrity throughout the flood. This detailed description not only underscores the ark's enormous size and robust construction, but also highlights the meticulous planning and divine guidance that went into its creation. These specifications have fueled centuries of debate and curiosity, prompting scholars to ponder the feasibility and historical accuracy of such a vessel. The Epic of Ziusudra is an ancient Sumerian text that bears remarkable similarities to the biblical story of Noah's Ark. As one of the earliest known flood narratives, it predates the Genesis account and provides significant insights into Mesopotamian culture and beliefs. These ancient texts are crucial for understanding the broader context of flood myths and their impact on later religious narratives, including those found in the Bible. The Epic of Ziusudra recounts the tale of a great flood sent by the gods to destroy humanity. Ziusudra, a king of Shuruppak, is warned of the impending deluge by the god Enki. Following the divine instruction, Ziusudra builds a massive vessel to save himself, his family, and the seeds of all living creatures. This narrative shares several thematic elements with the biblical story of Noah, suggesting a common cultural memory or influence. A particularly intriguing aspect of the Ziusudra account is the description of the ark. Unlike the rectangular structure described in Genesis, Ziusudra's ark is depicted as being round. Ancient Sumerian texts describe it as a large circular vessel, more akin to a massive coracle. This round shape is a significant deviation from the biblical design and has sparked considerable scholarly interest. The circular design would have provided stability in turbulent waters, a practical advantage during a catastrophic flood. The relevance of the Epic of Ziusudra lies not only in its similarities to the Noah narrative, but also in its unique features, such as the round ark. By examining these ancient Sumerian texts, we gain a deeper understanding of the flood myth's origins and its evolution over time, shedding light on the diverse ways in which ancient civilizations conceptualized divine intervention and salvation. The discovery of ancient stone tablets in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, has provided invaluable insights into early human civilization and its myths. These tablets, unearthed in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, are particularly significant for understanding the Epic of Ziusudra and its parallels to the biblical story of Noah's Ark. The stone tablets were found in various locations across Mesopotamia, with notable discoveries in the ancient cities of Nippur and Shuruppak. These sites are key archaeological treasures, as they were major urban centers in ancient Sumer. The tablets themselves date back to the 3rd millennium BCE, making them some of the oldest written records known to humanity. This period marks the early development of cuneiform writing, a system used by the Sumerians to document everything from administrative records to epic tales. The archaeological significance of these tablets cannot be overstated. They provide direct evidence of the literary and religious traditions of early Mesopotamian society. The narratives inscribed on these tablets, including the Epic of Ziusudra, offer a window into the beliefs and values of the ancient Sumerians. The discovery of these texts has been pivotal in understanding the transmission of mythological themes across cultures and time periods. Several prominent scholars have been involved in the translation and interpretation of these stone tablets. Among them, George Smith, an Assyriologist who first translated the Epic of Gilgamesh, played a crucial role in bringing these ancient stories to the modern world. Other notable figures include Samuel Noah Kramer, whose extensive work on Sumerian literature has been foundational, and Thorkild Jacobsen, who provided detailed analyses of Sumerian mythological texts. Their efforts have illuminated the rich tapestry of ancient Mesopotamian mythology and its enduring influence on subsequent cultures. Through the meticulous work of these scholars, the stone tablets have revealed a wealth of information about the ancient world, including the possibility that the flood narrative and the design of the ark described within it may have origins far older and more diverse than previously understood. The inscriptions on the ancient stone tablets from Mesopotamia offer a fascinating glimpse into the flood narrative that predates the biblical account of Noah's Ark. These key inscriptions provide critical details that allow us to compare the Sumerian and biblical versions of the story, shedding light on the possibility of a round ark design. The stone tablets inscribed with the Epic of Ziusudra include several passages that are strikingly similar to the Genesis flood narrative. For instance, one key inscription describes how Ziusudra was warned by the god Enki about the impending flood and was instructed to construct a large vessel to preserve life. The inscriptions detail the dimensions and specifications of this ark, which significantly differ from the Genesis account. A comparative analysis reveals both similarities and differences between the two narratives. While the Genesis account specifies a rectangular ark with precise dimensions, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, the Sumerian inscriptions describe a vessel of a different shape. The Epic of Ziusudra refers to the ark as a large, circular structure, akin to a coracle. This round design is emphasized in several inscriptions, highlighting the ark's stability and suitability for surviving the deluge. One of the key inscriptions reads, "Build a great boat of gopher wood, sealed with pitch inside and out. Let it be round like a great bowl and strong enough to withstand the waters." This description suggests that the Sumerian ark was constructed to be circular, a shape that would naturally provide greater stability in rough waters compared to a rectangular design. Another inscription details the construction process. Shape the vessel round with equal sides all around. Ensure it can endure the floodwaters. This further reinforces the idea of a round ark, contrasting with the dimensions provided in the Genesis account. These details from the stone tablets not only suggest a different architectural approach, but also indicate a shared cultural memory of a great flood across ancient civilizations. The round ark design mentioned in the Epic of Ziusudra provides a unique perspective on how ancient peoples might have interpreted and recorded such a cataclysmic event. By comparing these inscriptions with the biblical account, we can see how the flood narrative has evolved over time and across cultures, incorporating different elements and interpretations. The suggestion of a round ark design from the Sumerian texts adds a layer of complexity to our understanding of these ancient stories, inviting us to reconsider the traditional imagery associated with Noah's Ark. The flood narrative holds a prominent place in Sumerian culture, reflecting deep-seated beliefs about divine intervention, human frailty, and the cyclical nature of existence. The Epic of Ziusudra, one of the earliest known versions of the flood story, is a testament to the importance of this theme in ancient Mesopotamian society. In Sumerian culture, floods were a common and devastating natural phenomenon, shaping their worldview and religious beliefs. The narrative of a great flood sent by the gods to cleanse the world of human corruption resonated deeply with the Sumerians, who saw these events as both punishment and renewal. The historical significance of the flood story extends far beyond Sumerian culture. Similar flood myths appear in various ancient civilizations, including the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh, the Hindu myth of Manu, and the Greek story of Deucalion and Pyrrha. These narratives share common elements: a divine warning, the construction of a vessel, the survival of a select group of people and animals, and the eventual restoration of life on Earth. This widespread motif suggests a shared cultural memory, or a series of localized catastrophic events that inspired these stories. The Sumerian flood narrative, as detailed in the epic of Ziusudra, significantly influenced subsequent biblical narratives. When the Hebrews encountered Mesopotamian culture during their captivity in Babylon, they were exposed to these ancient stories, which likely contributed to the development of their own flood account in Genesis. The similarities between the epic of Ziusudra and the story of Noah's Ark in the Bible are striking. Both involve divine warning, the construction of an ark, the survival of a chosen few, and the renewal of life. The impact of the Sumerian flood story on the biblical narrative is profound. It illustrates how ancient cultures borrowed and reinterpreted existing myths to suit their religious and moral frameworks. In the biblical account, the flood narrative serves as a vehicle for themes of divine justice, human sinfulness, and the possibility of redemption. By integrating elements from older Mesopotamian myths, the authors of Genesis created a story that resonated with their contemporaries and provided a powerful moral lesson. Constructing a round ark, as described in the epic of Ziusudra, would have required innovative techniques and a deep understanding of ancient boat-building methods. Unlike the rectangular ark detailed in Genesis, a circular vessel presents unique challenges and advantages in terms of design and construction. The round shape, akin to a large coracle, would need to be meticulously crafted to ensure stability and buoyancy in turbulent floodwaters. One possible construction technique for a round ark involves using a wooden framework covered with tightly woven reeds or planks, then sealed with a waterproofing agent like pitch. This method, similar to the construction of traditional coracles used in various parts of the world, would create a lightweight yet durable structure. The use of gopher wood, as mentioned in both the biblical and Sumerian texts, suggests a material known for its strength and resistance to water damage. The application of pitch inside and out would provide an additional layer of protection against leaks, ensuring the vessel's integrity over an extended period. The feasibility of constructing a round ark lies in its inherent stability. The circular design would allow the ark to remain upright and centered, even in rough waters, reducing the risk of capsizing. This stability is a significant advantage over a rectangular design, which might struggle to maintain balance under similar conditions. The round shape also distributes stress more evenly across the structure, enhancing its overall durability. However, building a large, round vessel would require precise craftsmanship and careful planning to ensure all parts fit together seamlessly and maintain structural integrity. Comparing these techniques with traditional boat-building methods of the time reveals both similarities and differences. Ancient Mesopotamian boat builders were skilled in constructing various types of watercraft, including reed boats and wooden ships, tailored to the needs of their environment. The concept of a large, round vessel would not be entirely foreign to them, given their familiarity with coracles and other round boats used for river navigation. However, scaling this design to the size required for an ark capable of withstanding a global flood would be an unprecedented challenge, pushing the limits of their engineering capabilities. The shape of the ark in the flood narratives carries deep symbolic meanings that have been interpreted by both ancient and modern scholars. In the epic of Ziusudra, the round shape of the ark is not only a practical design choice, but also a symbol of completeness and protection. The circular form, often associated with eternity and the cyclical nature of life, conveys a sense of divine perfection and wholeness. This symbolism would have resonated deeply with ancient civilizations that revered the circle as a sacred geometric form. Ancient scholars and priests might have interpreted the round arc as a manifestation of the cosmos, with its shape reflecting the celestial bodies and the universe's cyclical patterns. In Mesopotamian culture, the circle was a powerful symbol, often representing the heavens, the sun, and the cyclical nature of time. The round arc, therefore, could be seen as a microcosm of the divine order, encapsulating the essence of creation within its protective boundaries. Modern scholars have explored these interpretations further, suggesting that the round arc symbolizes unity and universality. By encapsulating all forms of life within a single, cohesive structure, the round arc represents the interconnectedness of all beings and the holistic nature of creation. This interpretation aligns with the broader themes of survival and renewal present in flood narratives, emphasizing the idea that life is preserved and renewed through divine intervention. The cultural significance of the round shape extends beyond its symbolic meanings. In many ancient civilizations, circular structures were common in religious and ceremonial contexts. From stone circles to circular temples, the round form was often associated with sacred spaces and rituals. This cultural backdrop would have influenced the design and interpretation of mythological vessels like the Ark, embedding them with layers of spiritual and cultural meaning. In Sumerian society, the round arc could also symbolize the womb, a source of life and protection. This interpretation highlights the ark's role as a vessel of salvation, carrying the seeds of life through the destructive floodwaters to a new beginning. The protective and nurturing aspects of the round shape reinforce the themes of rebirth and renewal central to the flood narrative. The geographical correlations between the locations mentioned in both the biblical and Sumerian flood accounts provide intriguing insights into the historical and cultural contexts of these narratives. Both stories reference specific regions that align with known floodplains in Mesopotamia, suggesting that the flood myths may have been inspired by real geographical events. In the biblical account, the flood narrative centers around the region that encompasses modern-day Iraq, particularly the area between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This fertile crescent, known as Mesopotamia, is historically prone to flooding due to the seasonal inundation of these major rivers. Genesis 8:4 mentions that Noah's Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, which is traditionally associated with a region in eastern Turkey, near the borders of Armenia and Iran. Similarly, the Sumerian flood narrative in the Epic of Ziusudra references the city of Shuruppak, located in southern Mesopotamia, which was an important urban center during the 3rd millennium BCE. The flood is described as a divine act intended to cleanse the earth, with Ziusudra's round arc eventually coming to rest on a mountain, echoing the conclusion of the biblical story. The correlation with known floodplains in Mesopotamia further supports the plausibility of these flood narratives. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers have long histories of flooding, which would have had significant impacts on the ancient settlements along their banks. These natural events likely inspired the stories of cataclysmic floods that were later woven into the religious and mythological texts of the region. Possible routes taken by the arcs in these narratives would have been influenced by the topography and hydrology of Mesopotamia. In the Sumerian account, Ziusudra's ark would have floated down the floodwaters that inundated the low-lying plains, eventually being carried toward higher ground as the waters receded. This journey could align with the flow of the Tigris and Euphrates, leading the ark towards the northern mountainous regions. In the biblical account, Noah's Ark is similarly described as navigating the floodwaters before coming to rest on the mountains of Ararat. This suggests a northward journey through the Mesopotamian floodplain, with the ark drifting towards the elevated areas where it could safely land as the waters subsided. These geographical correlations not only lend credence to the flood narratives, but also highlight the shared cultural memory of ancient Mesopotamian societies. The consistent themes and locations across different accounts suggest a common understanding of the region's natural disasters and their profound impact on human history and mythology. Flood myths are a common feature in the mythologies of many cultures around the world, reflecting a shared human experience of catastrophic floods and the profound impact such events had on early societies. These stories often share remarkable similarities, suggesting either a shared origin or a universal response to similar natural disasters. One of the most well-known flood myths outside of the Mesopotamian and biblical traditions is the story of Deucalion and Pyrrha in Greek mythology. According to this myth, Zeus decided to flood the earth to destroy the wicked human race. Deucalion and his wife Pyrrha were warned by the god Prometheus and built a chest to survive the deluge. After the flood waters receded, they repopulated the earth by throwing stones over their shoulders, which transformed into humans. The Chinese legend of Yu the Great involves Yu taming the floodwaters that were ravaging the land. Though not a global flood, this story emphasizes a heroic figure's efforts to control and manage the destructive waters, reflecting the importance of floods in ancient Chinese culture. In Native American traditions, many tribes have flood stories. For example, the Hopi tell of a great flood sent by the gods to cleanse the world, from which a few chosen people escaped by climbing into a giant hollow reed. These global flood myths share several similarities with the Noah and Ziusudra narratives. Key elements include a divine warning, the construction of a vessel or refuge, the preservation of a chosen group of people and animals, and the eventual repopulation or renewal of the earth. These consistent themes suggest a common cultural memory or a response to similar environmental challenges faced by early civilizations. The analysis of these flood myths in relation to historical events indicates that many of these stories could be rooted in real, localized flood events. For instance, the frequent flooding of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers would have had a profound impact on Mesopotamian societies, inspiring the epic of Ziusudra and later the story of Noah. Similarly, the catastrophic flooding of the Yangtze and Yellow rivers in China could have given rise to the legends of Yu the Great. Furthermore, the melting of glaciers at the end of the last ice age around 10,000 years ago caused significant rises in sea levels, leading to widespread flooding in coastal regions. Such dramatic environmental changes would have left a lasting impression on early human societies, embedding the memory of great floods into their collective consciousness and mythologies. The timeline of events described in the Genesis account of Noah's Ark and the Sumerian texts, including the Epic of Ziusudra, offers an interesting point of comparison that can be correlated with known historical and geological timelines. Understanding these timelines helps contextualize the flood narratives within the broader framework of human history and natural events. The biblical account in Genesis situates the flood within the genealogy of the patriarchs, specifically in the time of Noah. According to the Masoretic text of the Hebrew Bible, the flood occurred in the 600th year of Noah's life, which many scholars estimate to be around 2348 BCE. This estimation is derived from the genealogical records that trace back the lineage from Adam to Noah. The Sumerian flood narrative, as recorded in the Epic of Ziusudra, is less precise in terms of exact dates. However, Ziusudra is identified as a king of Shuruppak, a city that flourished around the early 3rd millennium BCE. The tablets containing the flood narrative are dated to around 2100 BCE, suggesting that the story of Ziusudra likely predates this period and may have been based on even earlier oral traditions. The estimated dates for both the biblical and Sumerian flood narratives align with significant climatic events in ancient history. One of the major geological events that could correlate with these flood stories is the melting of the glaciers at the end of the last ice age, around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. This period saw significant rises in sea levels and widespread flooding in various parts of the world. Additionally, localized flooding events in Mesopotamia, such as those caused by the overflow of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, were common and could have inspired these flood legends. Archaeological evidence indicates that there were several major flood events in the region during the early Bronze Age, which would coincide with the estimated timelines of both Noah and Ziusudra. Cross-referencing the dates and periods from the Genesis account and the Sumerian texts with known historical and geological data reveals a plausible overlap. The timing of the Sumerian flood narrative around 2100 BCE fits within a broader context of significant environmental changes in the region. This period also aligns with the early dynastic period in Mesopotamia, which saw the rise and fall of several city-states, including Shurupak. The exploration of hidden knowledge and forbidden texts related to the Ark narratives opens a fascinating window into ancient beliefs and esoteric traditions that have often been obscured or suppressed over the centuries. These less-known scriptures and texts contain intriguing insights and hidden messages that challenge conventional interpretations of the flood stories found in mainstream religious traditions. Among the less-known scriptures, the Book of Jubilees, sometimes referred to as Little Genesis, provides additional details about the flood narrative and the lineage of Noah. This ancient Jewish text, which dates back to the 2nd century BCE, offers a more elaborate account of the events surrounding the flood, including precise calendrical data and specific instructions given to Noah. The Book of Jubilees was excluded from the canonical Hebrew Bible but remains an important source for understanding early Jewish thought. The Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in the mid-20th century, also contain references to the flood narrative. These scrolls, which date from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE, include fragments of the Genesis Apocryphon, a text that elaborates on the story of Noah, providing additional context and details that are not found in the canonical Bible. The Genesis Apocryphon describes Noah's Ark in more mystical terms, and includes references to astronomical and astrological phenomena. Forbidden knowledge related to the Ark narratives often delves into the mystical and esoteric interpretations of these ancient stories. One example is the account of the Watchers and the Nephilim found in the Book of Enoch, another non-canonical Jewish text. The Book of Enoch describes how these angelic beings descended to earth and intermingled with humans, leading to the birth of the Nephilim, a race of giants. This transgression is cited as one of the reasons for the Great Flood, which was meant to cleanse the earth of their corrupt influence. Additionally, the Kabbalistic tradition within Jewish mysticism offers profound insights into the flood narrative. Kabbalistic texts interpret the Ark not just as a physical vessel, but as a symbol of spiritual salvation and enlightenment. According to Kabbalistic teachings, the dimensions and materials of the Ark have deep symbolic meanings, representing the different aspects of the divine and the process of spiritual purification. Ancient manuscripts, such as the Sumerian king list, provide hidden messages about the flood narrative and its significance in early Mesopotamian culture. The Sumerian king list, which records the reigns of kings before and after the flood, suggests a cyclic nature of time and divine intervention. This list implies that the flood was a pivotal event that reset the course of human history, a theme that resonates with many ancient cultures. Another intriguing manuscript is the Epic of Atrahasis, an Akkadian epic that predates the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Genesis flood narrative. The Epic of Atrahasis provides a detailed account of the flood, emphasizing the role of the gods and their relationship with humanity. The hidden messages within this text reveal the complexities of divine justice and the fragile balance between humans and the divine. Conclusion. In our exploration of the flood narratives from both biblical and Sumerian perspectives, we have uncovered a fascinating hypothesis: the possibility that Noah's Ark, as described in the Epic of Ziusudra, may have been round. This idea challenges traditional depictions and opens new avenues for understanding these ancient stories. By examining the detailed descriptions in Genesis, we understand the traditional rectangular dimensions of Noah's Ark. However, the Sumerian texts, particularly the Epic of Ziusudra, present a compelling case for a round ark, emphasizing its practical design and stability in floodwaters. The discovery of ancient stone tablets in Mesopotamia, dated to the 3rd millennium BCE, provides archaeological evidence that supports the existence of a flood narrative predating the biblical account. Our analysis of these texts reveals not only the architectural feasibility of a round ark, but also the rich symbolic meanings associated with its shape. The round ark, symbolizing completeness and divine protection, offers a unique perspective that resonates with the cultural and spiritual contexts of ancient civilizations. Geographical correlations between the locations mentioned in the flood stories and known floodplains in Mesopotamia further substantiate the historical basis for these narratives. The widespread presence of flood myths across various cultures suggests a shared human experience and memory of catastrophic flooding events. Moreover, The hidden knowledge and forbidden texts explored in this investigation reveal deeper layers of meaning and esoteric interpretations that have been overlooked in mainstream accounts. These ancient manuscripts enrich our understanding of the flood narratives and invite us to reconsider their significance. In a nutshell, the round arc hypothesis blends historical, biblical, and archaeological evidence, offering a nuanced view of one of the most enduring stories in human history. We encourage you, our viewers, to delve deeper into these fascinating topics, explore the ancient texts, consider the archaeological evidence, and ponder the symbolic meanings behind these timeless stories. Whether you view the ark as round or rectangular, the essence of these narratives lies in their powerful messages of survival, divine guidance, and the enduring spirit of humanity. The journey of discovery continues, and there is always more to learn about our shared past and the mysteries it holds.